Aloha. This is Emily Thoreau-Thrift, host of the Grief and Happiness podcast. Every Friday, I share with you my love notes, giving you a little something to think about as you navigate through your grief journey, finding happiness expanding along your way. And every Tuesday, I post my regular podcast sharing wonderful conversations with people you can relate to and who offer you encouraging ideas and helpful inspiration. I'm so grateful you're joining me and look forward to hearing from you, your thoughts. Aloha. My podcast for you today is Holidays and Grief. Holidays present a special challenge to those grieving. It's especially hard the first holidays that come after a loved one dies. I realized that I was just ignoring the season when my first Christmas came. So I made the effort to create Christmas cards with the drawing I had done on the front. And inside, I expressed the gratitude that I had for all those who had supported me through the year. Writing that card was challenging because I just wanted to say the right thing. I know lots of people have stopped sending out cards, but for me, it's a way to reach out to those who I care about. I made a long list and sent lots of cards in love and work I put into those cards. I was hoping people would notice that I was reaching out for support, but they didn't. I got very few cards that year. I assumed that everyone was busy and they feel Christmas cards are a nuisance, but they weren't to me. I did write a reply to every Christmas card that I received, and I learned that just because something is important to me doesn't mean that it's going to be important to anyone else. And I don't believe that anyone was trying to be hurtful. So on Christmas Day, I was sitting alone, remembering the few huge family gatherings we used to have when I was growing up. My mom had 3 living sisters and a brother, and they'd take turns as to who would host Christmas. There wasn't much money between us all, but we still had wonderful celebration with lots of food and love. And I looked at my Facebook and noticed that members of my grief groups were posting heavily that day, and most of them had the same feeling, that they weren't invited. When I thought about that, I remembered the first Christmas after my husband Jacques died, who I was with for 23 years. Though his family dropped by for a short visit, I was basically by myself and in tears. As I thought about that year, I could hear my Ron, who I was with for 10 years, say to me, "Now, how does thinking about that serve you?" That woke me up. What could I do to improve the situation? Well, the first thing I did was to make a list of everyone I could think of who may be alone that day or may have had a recent loss or tragedy in their family. Then I wrote an individual note to each of them to send by email so they'd get it that day, or by messenger, and however I could get it to them so they have it for that holiday. I expressed my love and support and suggested that we get together for the next holiday if possible, at least by phone or mail, since I live so far away from everyone else in the world. Then I went further and I wrote a note to each one I noticed in the grief groups online who felt alone that day. I told them they had a virtual friend and that frequently people don't have any idea of what to say to people who are grieving, especially on holidays. So if there was anything that they needed to hear from them, I would be happy to reach out to them. I still didn't hear back from many people, and that was okay. At least I reminded them that I'm alive and I'd love to stay involved with my family and friends. And I knew the next holiday would be better, and I'll find more people to reach out to then. So find people you can reach out to too. You don't have to wait for Christmas Day. You can do it ahead of time, and you may even do a friends gathering during the Christmas season, maybe on December 23rd or 26th. So if they do have someplace to go on the holidays, they'd have some time with friends before or after that could support them too. Thank you so much for listening to me, and have wonderful holidays, everyone. Do you want more comfort, support, and happiness? Join the Grief and Happiness Alliance. Visit my website at lovingandlivingyourwaythroughgrief.com and read my book, Loving and Living Your Way Through Grief. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, rate it, review it, and binge on all our episodes on grief and happiness. I can't wait to welcome you back to another episode